Right now, and it is time indeed for the Game Source Podcast number 129. This is Gerald, better known as Yes Elvis Lives, and I'm here today with the author. Well, and I hope you got the book already because I'm telling you, it's a very good read. I just bought it again as far as when it went on sale for $1 on the Kindle, and also as well the Nook. And shame on you if you didn't get that deal, but it is still at a great price. It is Vendetta Dark, the novel, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Josh Peterson, is here. How are you, sir?
Good, good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing good. It's right now we're in kind of a lull because there's nothing going on right now. Pretty much in the industry, it's kind of quiet. Um, I guess gearing up for the storm between well, number one, PAX. I know it's coming up, and then also number two is if you see right here, uh, the GameStop Expo. It's coming back to Las Vegas, and actually, we just found out today that we're actually uh, been granted press access to it. So we are very pleased that we got press access for the event, and we're just deciding on drawing straws on who actually will be going to it. So, and I'm working on some other things as well. You know, if you get a chance today to check out the Retro City Games and V page at yourgamesource.com. Doug, from one of the owners of Retro City Games, he shared his thoughts on Roving Rogue, and then here in a little bit, in by the end of the week, we're going to have up an actual special treat for everyone. It's going to be a page from GameSource devoted to everything Nintendo Quest, including some exclusive material, hopefully in the future, that both Rob and Jay will be able to provide for us. So we're looking forward to that. There's going to be a special page devoted to them and their whereabouts, and not only what's going on in the film with them, which is going to be also transcribed on their site at nintendoquest.com, but also as well, there's going to be a lot of other good things as well coming for that page. And that's going to be just probably in the next day or so. We're going to finalize that and have that up for you as well. We got another great article coming on small game stores here, as far as them competing against GameStop and other large retailers here in this generation and how they do it. I did extensive time and research on it, covering some stores here in the Valley, and I just wanted to be able to share that article with you. That's coming up very soon. I also posted an article today on the In Case You Missed It page about Hitman and its prospect for this weekend. Josh, you got a hankering to go see Mr. Hitman Agent 47 this weekend?
I kind of do actually. Unlike everybody else, most of the other Hitman fans, I actually enjoyed the last movie. I thought Timothy Oliphant played a good Agent 47, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Well, the previous one, which is supposedly it's not related to this current one coming out this weekend. Let me give you background on that one, and probably the reason why another one was being made is, it was made under about a $25 million budget. Maybe double that when you consider, as Rob always says, with advertising and things of that nature. But over the course of its lifetime, including DVD, Blu-ray sales, pay-per-views, things for that nature, it's actually garnered over $100 million, which was thought initially to be a failure at the box office. Actually turned out to do quite well for the company, for the studio. And so they decided to recommission and reboot Hitman in this format. I've been trying to reach out and did some research. The actual prognostications are for it to do probably somewhere around $10-12 million, maybe. As far as it's concerned, this weekend, Straight Outta Compton is still rocking it big, and I think it's still gonna be number one. But Hitman could surprise some people as far as being able to do a little bit better than that. And actually, if it's reviews okay, as an action flick, it could do rather well by the time its run has ended. But we'll have to wait and see. My hope is for that because the actual video game movie adaptations as a whole have been weak, and I'm also looking into doing a report on what video game adaptations for the cinema are actually going to look promising going forward, because there's still, even though for the most part, most have been terrible, most have done awful. There's still quite a few in development, and I'm looking forward to finding out, or taking a guess and writing down my thoughts on what the future looks like for some of those movies, and also getting some good feedback as well. So
got Assassin's Creed coming out soon with Michael Fassbender.
that's correct. Who hasn't played the game?
Well, yeah, I guess that could be disastrous. Bryan Singer never read an X-Men comic book when he first made the original X-Men movie, so that didn't turn out too well.
Yes, you are correct on that. So, yeah, it's just hard. I've touched on the subject now for over a month. I've had it in several interviews, and it's just when people have to think about something as far as the best video game movie out there, and it just boggles the mind. I know there were articles on the 20th anniversary of the Mortal Kombat movie, and that it actually did very well, proportionate to its budget. But the movie, as far as a quality concerned, it's just not there. But as a campy, lighthearted popcorn flick you'd watch late at night, yeah, it's Mortal Kombat, absolutely. But to see an actual quality film being presented on the screen as many other many other AAA games would be represented on the screen, that's still yet to happen in my estimation and my belief. But like I said, I'm going to research more into it. Hopefully, I'll be able to provide our audience that checks out our site at yourgamesource.com with an analysis of the future going forward for video game adaptations. So.
Well,
Josh,
what do you think the problem is with? You think it's just that they don't have a respect for the source material? I mean, look at Fantastic Four. That's why it's failed 3 times to take off, because the people making the film, they don't know anything about the comic book. I think it could be the same with people making movies off video games too.
I agree with you to a point, but I also think it's an understanding of the Fantastic Four. I think the Fantastic Four. The best you were going to get out of the Fantastic Four has already happened, to be quite honest with you. I think if you try to reboot them again in 5-10 years and you put the best actors in the world on it, I still think there's a limitation and a ceiling on how high the actual film can go. I just think the Fantastic Four series, it just does not have as high a ceiling as some other Marvel properties. And I think that at some point in time, you're just going to have to relegate yourself to the fact, not yourself personally, but 20th Century Fox, the fact that maybe they're better in as far as a auxiliary role or not, starring in their own feature, but doing something as far as being part of an ensemble, so to speak. I think that would make them look better as far as it's concerned.
Well, if you what makes them so compelling is, if you read them in the comic books, what makes them so great is the way they interact with the rest of the Marvel universe. But being owned by Fox, they're pretty isolated from all that. So there's not really, besides interacting with the X-Men, there's not a lot they can do.
And that's true. And I understand that they are limited as far as doing, they want to try and milk anything out of it. But I just think they, going in, they should have realized that the Fantastic Four as a property is not popular enough to achieve that level or that status. That's my own personal judgment. I just don't think there's enough fan warrant out there. Ant-Man, which we talked about, it's going to probably do worldwide. I'm guesstimating. Looking off of boxofficemojo.com and other sites, boxoffice.com, it will probably do around this lifetime about 350 million worldwide, which is going to be on the lower end of the actual cinematic universe, the recent Marvel Cinematic Universe. My thing with that is that if it had been its own property 10 years ago that came out, I don't think it would have even done that. I think it gained a lot of momentum because it was part of the universe, and it's every people that went to see it. Not only I like the movie itself, but I see it as I know he's going to be part of this bigger ensemble, so I want to see his story unfold in order to do that. And I think a lot of the people that did actually go see it was just for that purpose and not wanting to see Ant-Man as a whole. I don't, I think he falls into that category as far as it's concerned of Marvel characters that on their own may not be able to achieve the level of status that others are. Captain America and Thor were also on that fringe as well at one time because their numbers for their first features were not as they were actually right around what Ant-Man is going to finish with, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Right.
I mean, Josh, your thoughts? Am I wrong in that estimation? Am I wrong saying that? But I think some Marvel properties are just not at the level of others when trying to reach to a general audience. And I know that's just me saying something I've said ad nauseum about video games and superhero movies and as a whole. But when a movie or a video game is a hit, they are reaching a larger casual audience, and some of these characters within the universe are just not as adept as being able to connect with that audience.
Yeah, I think that, when it comes to Marvel movies, you have maybe three different types of fans. You have the people who go to see them because they feel obligated to the rest of to see the rest of the Marvel Universe movies. And then you have people who go in there just expecting, explosions, robots blowing up, Ultron type action. And then, you have those who are genuine fans. And I think what happened was with Ant-Man is people were going in, they're expecting explosions and all kinds of, storylines you don't have to pay attention to. But Ant-Man really, had a lot of depth to it. So I think that, that might have been why people didn't like it, because it was something they actually had to pay attention to.
Well, I enjoyed the movie as a whole. I liked, like I said, my wife and I both, we watched the film and we appreciated it that it was something different than what we had seen in the previous 7, 8 films per
Oh yeah,
se. And but
yeah,
I do know that may have been also the reason why it will not achieve that upper echelon. Maybe same thing might go for Doctor Strange, a Black Panther, Captain Marvel. Those are three in my estimation, a fringe Marvel characters that may or may not translate to a larger audience.
yeah,
Also, as well, that's you and I have gone back and forth on Black Widow. I had Black Widow had her own introduction movie, she might have been at that same level. If she does one now, I think it would be a lot bigger. Had they, if they're already set, Marvel's already set as far as their next few years are out. But going over it again, if they had a chance to do it over, seeing the popularity of her character, would they gone halfway through and say, you know what, maybe we could do our own movie? It would maybe reach 500-600 million worldwide, because I think that translate into a little bit higher level, not Iron Man level, because Iron Man 3 earned over $1 billion at the box office, but at least to a level that's higher than um, I don't want to say lower ranked or lower tier Marvel Universe characters.
well, what's happening is, if you notice, with Thor and Thor 2, when Thor 2 came out, the numbers, the box office numbers increased from Thor 1, because I think a lot of these people, they're introducing these heroes that not a lot of people know about. Like you said, Doctor Strange, for example. Ant-Man was a good example too. But they're taking all these heroes, and once people see them and they see them in the Avengers movies, then they're more likely to go see a sequel.
Well, when let me ask you this: so let's say they would go the traditional way as far as what they've done with both Ant-Man and Captain America, because you're right, the second versions of each were substantially more profitable for them than the previous iteration. If an Ant-Man 2 came out, would it actually do that, substantially better? Because both Captain America and actually, also as well Thor 2, they both earn quite a bit more, almost in some cases double what the previous iteration did. I personally don't see Ant-Man 2 doing that type of cash if a sequel we made, because I just think the appeal is limited for that character.
Yeah, well, because I think once Ant Man, it depends on the timing. Because one, if they were to make Ant Man 2 before the release of Captain America: Civil War, which obviously they're not, but I don't think it would do so well. But both Thor and Captain America 2, after they appeared together in the Avengers and everyone saw their characters and they're like, okay, yeah, well, I like them. So then they went and saw the sequel. So I think once people see Ant Man and Captain America 3, then I think he has a pretty good chance of making more money in the box office were they to make a sequel.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point indeed. Well, that was shown. The footage for Captain America: Civil War was shown. Some of it, at least, a little tidbit was shown at D23 at Anaheim, California. As far as Disney for that whole weekend took over the world as far as the information it garnered out. As far as from additions to their theme parks, rides to their theme parks, additions to Disney Infinity, adding the Big Hero 6 world, which was, I think, something completely out of left field, and actually looks, for me, that's and my kids, obviously something that they could really get into, using Keyblade as far as is concerned, as a special unlockable character from the Kingdom Hearts series for Disney Infinity. That was actually very pleasant as well. Your thoughts, and then also I cannot be remiss without saying more about the front footage that was there, and also talking about the plans for the Star Wars series going forward. Your thoughts on D23, and how Disney captured the imagination pretty much of the entire world for that 3 day period.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff at D23 this year. I was pretty excited to hear about the expansion of Disneyland for the Star Wars land, but they're running out of room. So the question now is, where are they going to start putting all this stuff? They're going to have to start building up instead of
Well,
expanding out.
and then also it's replacing out as well. They talked
Yeah.
about the Star Tours. They're going to add some additional footage from obviously the Force Awakens, but they're going to. I have a feeling they're just going to, in like especially in the case of the Anaheim location, which they are even more restricted on space. Just building as far as it's concerned, maybe taking something out of the California Adventure or some other parts that are a little bit worn out as far as the age is concerned. I know they talked about adding the Avatar ride. I believe in, was it Frontierland or Adventureland?
Well, I thought it was at their safari park. I thought that was where they adding the Avatar stuff.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I know Iron Man is that's going overseas,
Yeah.
but and my question to you is, they announced the Star Wars land as far as it's concerned, which is going to be huge and massive, and it's going to actually get my interest in going back to Disneyland or Disney World. Um, my question to you is, at what point in time is Marvel World? Got to do it. Got to do it.
Yeah, well, because it's really exciting. I'm sure they'll have a Marvel Land eventually, but with Star Wars, there's more opportunities to make rides out of that. Because if you look at Marvel, the Iron Man ride, from what the concept art just shows, you're just flying alongside Iron Man. But with Star Wars, you can do there's little worlds to explore, like Star Tours. You go around the galaxy, but what kind of my question is, what kind of rides would you be able to make out of a Marvel Land?
Well, I don't think Disney likes to go well beyond as far as create something as far as from a ride standpoint, unless it's a simulator or something like that using newer technology. Their traditional rides, they most for the most part will probably just reskin them, as we would say in the video game world, reskin them to have Marvel themes, and then just create a whole universe out of that, or at least a chunk of that space because there is such a demand for Marvel products at this time.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, because they already
The-
have what in that innovations. They already have the the Iron Man suits and the Captain America display.
That's correct. I don't know when their Sony deal expires with Spider-Man, but I know it believe before 2025 for Fox on the X-Men and also as well Fantastic Four. So maybe they're waiting for that. You never know. You never know.
It'd be nice to have them all under the same roof again.
Nice for us, and definitely nice for Disney. Believe me, I actually kind of was worried when they both bought both Lucasfilm and Marvel, but I actually share a lot of enthusiasm as a lot of other people because I see what they're doing with those properties. They're doing excellent things so far with those properties. They're bringing back a lot of old games as far as it's concerned to the universe. The PlayStation 4 with Darth Vader is going to actually have some classic games bundled with it, along with Battlefront. So if you get that Battlefront PS4, you'll get some extra little treats as far as it's concerned. Games not seen since the SNES era. So it's that's really a good thing to look forward to as well. You said you don't have a PlayStation 4 yet. Does Darth Vader slapped on the side might change that option?
I know. He's tempting me.
He's putting that Jedi mind trick on you. Buy PS4. But needless to say, it was a very good showing at D23. Very, very pleased to see the attention that it's got, and it looks like it's a great thing that they're not separating all this stuff all over the place over announcements. Over they leave a lot for D23, but still have enough that they sprinkle into E3. Still have enough that they sprinkle into Comic Con. They don't shut those fans out, but they also make sure that they have a lot of good stuff that they announce specifically for their D23 audience. So it's definitely for me a good thing to see. Maybe I might take a wander down there next year. You never know. But let's move on because there's also another battle taking place that we need to address. Actually, saw two videos this Monday that came out from both HD remasters of the Uncharted collection and also as well the Gears of War. Well, the Gears of War remastered. You're buying Gears of War remastered. I'm buying Gears of War remastered. You're reviewing it from what you have indicated as well. So you tell me, which is the better deal, the Uncharted collection or Gears of War remastered? Because I'm getting both. So
Well, let's look at the value between them. Obviously, Uncharted is going to be the better deal because you're getting 3 games, whereas Gears of War you're getting one game you could play through in 4 or 5 hours. But it's for nostalgia's sake. I'm really excited about both of them. That Uncharted alone is tempting me to go out and buy a PlayStation. But
it's beautiful. And there's no multiplayer. They've taken the multiplayer out of it, but you will get the multiplayer beta for PS for Uncharted 5 if you get that. But I will say for the Gears is that you will get all 4 previous Gears of War iterations, the 360 iterations, if you buy the actual Gears of
that's
War
right.
HD.
I forgot they announced that. Yeah,
So you forgot they announced it. So
you got me
maybe
on that
going
one.
back. Maybe going back.
So you're
I'll ask you
getting
again. Which is the
yeah. That's a tough one because Gears of War is fun. I love Gears of War, but as far as narrative goes, I think it depends on what you like. If you want a better narrative, obviously you're gonna want Uncharted. But if you want something you can play, one of those games you can play through 4 or 5 hours and just not have to think about anything, Gears of War is your game.
I kind of agree with you there. I do like the fact that the multiplayers will be kept intact. I understand for a lot of people the Uncharted series, the multiplayer was not something they were truly interested in. They were missing out on number 2, but really on number 3, the Uncharted number 3, Drake's Deception. The multiplayer was actually very, very, very strong. I held it up at the time against almost any multiplayer that was out there because I thought it was really, really a lot of love put into it. And I'm hoping they'll do the same once Uncharted 4 comes out early next year. But so we'll see. They're both going to be decent values for what you get. So we look forward to both coming out. I know you're reviewing it, so we'll look forward to that review when you get ready to send it to us, and we'll slap it on our site, yourgamesource.com. And speaking of gaming systems and the HD remaster Gears of War, which is going to be on the Xbox One, earlier this month they had a great, great showing at Gamescom, which was made even greater for them because A, Nintendo wasn't there, and B, Sony wasn't there. So, while they weren't really there in abundance, and they did not have press conferences to make and announce really much of anything, unlike Xbox One, which had a very, very nice showing with their press conference. So I ask you, Josh, what things coming out of Gamescom were interesting for you from the Xbox One, since you have an Xbox One? And then, do you think that momentum that they are coming out of with Gamescom will lead them this this holiday to the number one spot? But then we got to remember though that Paris week in late October, Sony will be there, and they also doing their PlayStation Experience in December as well. Nintendo is Nintendo, and I'm sure they'll make some good announcements right around Super Mario Maker, which is really looking like a good game as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. From Gamescom, let's. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that's excited for Halo Wars 2. Everyone I've talked to, they're like, "Nah, I didn't really like the first one," but I loved it. That was a great game. I could play that over and over. And
Well, the
you know,
raw
as far,
live crowd was really into it. I remember the applause for that. It sold, I believe, at the time, well over 2 million copies. So, I mean, for a lot of other titles, that would be great numbers. I understand for Halo that that would be on the fringe of whether or not they would want to renew it or make a sequel to that series. But from an RTS standpoint, it is one of the best made for consoles, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. RTS fans should be excited for that game coming out.
oh yeah, because I mean, I just you didn't see a lot of hype over it on the internet. You saw a lot of hype over Call of Duty and Scalebound and Quantum Break, but those games actually look really good. Not I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan, but Scalebound and Quantum Break, I'm actually really looking forward to.
Uh, for me, Scalebound was aesthetically not I think if the four-player co-op with dragons is able to work, I think that's gonna make it back for me on that side. It was kind of the visuals did not really grab me in any way. But as far as the kooky characters concerned, seemed too much in the realm of trying to be too much like a Final Fantasy from that realm. But Scalebound, if you're able to do four-player co-op with the dragons, like supposedly they're saying, and they showed it and teased it at the end, then obviously that will make a lot of difference with a lot of people's minds. As far as Quantum Break, how they're going to integrate the TV show that they're actually making specifically for the game that you unlock during the game. As I know that's a key, but it looked for me as far as footage that you were way overpowered to me. That you would just be able to stop time, slow time down, and just literally obliterate all your enemies to make it. To me, that I don't know. Does that put it on the too easy side? Does that make you too? It's almost not a god mode per se, but close to it. It seemed like it at times to me when I was watching the footage.
Yeah, I mean, I think the footage looks really good. It kind of like as far as like what he can do. Do you remember a game on Xbox 360 called Time Shift?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so it's like that. So the second you start dying, you just freeze time, you just blow everybody away, and then you put time back to normal again. So I hope it's not that easy, but maybe if you change the difficulty modes, it'll be a little more challenging.
I hope so as well. I hope so as well. For me, obviously the footage from Rise of the Tomb Raider, that was something to look forward to. It's looking better. So I still think I'm kind of not sure on the fence if it's actually going to be released this year. I'm still thinking that might smell like a delay there, but we'll see. anything else from Gamescom that you feel that's going to push the Xbox One over the top, or do you think it is going to be still over the top, or do you think the Star Wars Battlefront's affiliation with the PlayStation might be too much?
That's a good question. Because there are other games coming out, in the holiday season besides Battlefront. So, as far as the other games at Gamescom, I've already pretty much been sold on most of them anyways. So, as far as the holiday season goes, it just it depends on what you want to play. Obviously, people are going to buy Uncharted. They have PlayStation, but it just depends on what console you favor.
But
What
then
kind of
again, that's what I wanted to say. Forgive me for interrupting. It's because PlayStation doesn't have that. I know at Gamescom they really wanted to emphasize that they have these four, foundational pieces to their success story this holiday season, whereas PlayStation has the Uncharted collection, and I can't really say Battlefront because Battlefront's going to be on PC and Xbox One. So I understand that they're trying to promote it as something that leans towards them. I understand that Call of Duty with the DLC now shifting first to PlayStation is going to make things a little bit more receptive on that end. But let me just say this: if the PlayStation 4 still comes out on top this holiday season as the number one console, that really is going to tell me something as far as the gamers out there, people's choices as far as which console they truly value and see as a better option.
Well, as far as this game comes out on this console first, I don't really think that's gonna do anything for sales. I mean, because if you have to wait an extra month or two to play a game that you want to play, you're not gonna go out and spend $400 on a console unless you bleed money or something.
No, but in the case of Rise of Tomb Raider, if it comes out when it's supposed to come out, there will be a year passing between being an Xbox as an Xbox One exclusive. That's different than say the week or two wait you would have to wait as an Xbox One owner for DLC for Call of Duty, or any other slight DLC delay. Whoever has a deal like that, there is no better time for the Xbox One to make a dent in the marketplace, because next year it will be more competitive as far as offerings from all three parties, I should say, because Nintendo, whether it's the Wii U, maybe Zelda will be out by that time or be coming out by next holiday, or the NX or whatever. I think Nintendo will actually have a more fair offering next year as well. But there is no better time for the Xbox One, in my opinion. And
Oh,
if they don't come out on top this holiday season, they're still making a profit from it, obviously, and they're still selling units in abundance. But the physical idea of being number one not only has it's just from a visual standpoint and from a interest standpoint amongst the audience out there, but also as well from the fact that, hey, they're number one. They can tout it. PlayStation's been number one virtually every month except for one this year. And if they were able to hold out on top again, that to me, without a really core piece of the puzzle that's truly their own, because you can't say Until Dawn, you can't say some of the other downloadable games that they're going to be exclusives that they have. Just an actual exclusive title, AAA title that they're bringing out that's going to be able to that they can showcase compared to Xbox One. I just think it's right now if Xbox One cannot overcome this holiday, that tells me a lot.
oh yeah, for sure. Because they're in the favorite spot right now.
No doubt indeed. But well, Josh, any final thoughts? Any last plugins for Vendetta Dark or anything of that nature? So tell me what's going on with the world of Josh Peterson before we head on out.
Working on my next book. I'd appreciate it. Anyone who still wants to go out and purchase Vendetta Dark, I always appreciate feedback on that. I'm doing working on a short film right now, which I'll be able to tell everyone more about soon. Weren't did you want to talk about Star Wars Rogue One? Were we gonna?
Oh, absolutely. I always want to talk Star before we get on now. Star Wars Rogue One. You're and then also the Han Solo in development, the Boba Fett story. Um, these are not the Bothans that died carrying these plans because that was from Return of the Jedi. Takes place between episodes 3 and 4, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Correct.
So tell me your thoughts on the cast that was recently revealed for Star Wars Rogue One, which just went into production, I think, last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Not a lot of well-known actors there, but 2 words: Donnie Yen. I'll go see that. To see Donnie Yen go toe to toe with a Sith Lord, I'm there. I'm sold.
He was in the Raid Redemption, correct?
He was
The Raid. Sorry.
Yeah, he was in that, and he was in Ip Man, the Ip Man movies where he played Bruce Lee's teacher. Legend of
Okay.
the Fist.
Fair enough. I will tell you, I've watched martial arts movies for, okay, more years than I care to actually say on screen, but back in the old days, watching it on the local station on Saturday nights. But anyways, I watched The Raid, the first, and that was the best martial arts movie I've ever seen.
Oh,
Bruce Lee movies, that just hands down to me. I mean, am I wrong in the saying that how great a film that was?
no, the action's nonstop. Like even if the lip, dubbing bothers you, just it's a visual feast.
I put that on. When I first watched it because I watched it was down off home video and whatnot. It had been out already over a year or whatnot, and I just had it hooked up on the surround sound and the music with that the theme. That's one of those movies that really just it's great, and then it goes even greater with that music that had just matched every beat, every blow by blow, and it's just a great experience. The sequel I watched, and I was not as thrilled. There are some slow points because they tried to go ahead and put more of a story and inject more of a story in there, and I think that was to their detriment. But it was still, more than passable as far as from an action point. But yeah, absolutely. I'm glad he's in the film. I wonder if they're going to, put because that a lot of martial arts or what exactly he will be doing in the film. It's up for speculation. But I'm glad, Star Wars Rogue One is all these like I said, Disney is now taking, people can say commercializing whatever. Lucasfilm was all about commercializing everything. This is just taking it up a notch higher, and they're just trying to get back their $4 billion worth and doing whatever they can to do it. And they're creating a lot of good projects and having a lot of good ideas with it. So, your final thoughts on Rogue One?
I'm really curious more than anything. They didn't give away a lot of details about it, so it's what they did say is that this crew would be trying to steal plans for the Death Star. So obviously from A New Hope, they didn't succeed. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Absolutely, and I bet you I'm going to say right now, first trailer, Super Bowl.
You think so?
If it falls in line, it's what, 6 months, give or take.
Yeah.
Maybe sooner. They may do December. Obviously for the Force Awakens. That also makes sense because obviously they can create a trailer within maybe a month of shooting. They can create enough for a trailer. I mean, they Civil War's been in production 2-3 months, and yet they created a lot of footage for there. So be that as it may, if they don't do it for the Force Awakens, then I'd say the best when you have the most eyes watching is definitely a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep. And Disney certainly can, they've got a little bit of cash. I think they can pay for it. So.
It's like they can't afford the $3 million to show their commercial.
Yes, indeed. They'll just raise the park, rates a little bit higher. It's over 100 now. not like they care anything on that.
Funny fact though, it's actually now it's almost cheaper. That for SeaWorld, it costs almost $90 to get into the park for the day, but you can pay $120 to go to both parks at Disney.
That is correct, and actually is around 100. But I know SeaWorld's been, because of the issues with their Blackfish, that CNNU was like running every weekend, and the negative issues from there. I know their profits were down almost 100% in the last quarter. I just was reading up on that because we went to SeaWorld, and I know that they're trying to make a lot of deals. Legoland, get this, Legoland is just as expensive as Disneyland. So you know what? I don't want to smack Disneyland because you know when Star Wars Land is there, guess what? We're
It'll be
there.
worth every penny. Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. You and I will be waiting those 2.5 hour lines,
Right.
and that's just to get cotton candy. But anyways, be that as it may, once again, thanks for joining us, being part of the podcast. If you get a chance, and here's the plug time, got to go ahead first off and give a shout out again to Josh. Vendetta Dark. Got to give it a chance. Check it out. Vendetta Dark on either Amazon or Barnes and Noble. You get it. It's inexpensive and it's a great read, and you'll enjoy it. Trust me on that. Second of all, you got to go see our friends Rob and Jay at NintendoQuest.com. We're going to obviously build our own page for them, but if you really want the latest and greatest on what's going on with their movie, where it's playing out, and how you can actually request through tug.com, how to get a screening in your city, just go ahead and check it out, nintendoquest.com. Always want to give a shout out to those guys because they give us some love back. And then, hey, yourgamesource.com. We've got over 100 podcasts. We've got as well our YouTube page, Game Source, which has over 500 videos. Aaron and I just posted gameplay videos this week. We go at Game Source on Twitter if you always want to shout out a message to us. We got over 1,000 followers there. We need more followers. Because if you follow us on Twitter or you follow us on Game Source at Facebook, you will get the latest news right to you, right on your news feed. It's right there. All the latest and greatest happenings in the video game world. And we just get it from all over. We're the leading aggregate site in the world. Well, okay, Yahoo may want to say that they put their 2 cents in, but you know what? We will put our 2 cents in as well. We provide thousands and thousands and thousands of stories that we have posted on the video game world over the past 6 years, and we are just going to keep on doing it because we want you to be informed on what's going on in the video game scene. And then we have our own unique views, our reviews. Just had reviews up from myself, also as well. Got Rob coming out with one very shortly. We've had, like I said, Doug from Retro City Games, Angry Nick. We've had quite a few people share their reviews on some of the latest games as well. If you really want to, interested in writing stories and writing reviews, hey, send us a line, info@yourgamesource.com. Always want to, add people to the team. Josh has been great since he's joining us, and I'm sure he'll tell you that it's been hopefully a great experience so far. I'm keeping my fingers crossed when I say that, but just want to if you're interested being a part of the team, info@yourgamesource.com. Like I said, we're going to cover the GameStop convention next month. We're really looking forward to that. Hopefully, going to get some great interviews for you and get some great footage, and then also as well, hey. It's just us, yourgamesource.com. Read my In Case You Missed It page. Not my In Case You Missed It page, but the yourgamesource.com In Case You Missed It page, because I had a great article there on Hitman, Agent 47, the movie that Josh said he's going to go see, and I'm sure he's going to give good feedback on it as well.
We'll be there.
And if he doesn't like it, he will give you that feedback as well.
Will.
In spades. Well, my friend, I appreciate you being on the podcast tonight. To all of those out there that watched, listened, and then also as well, any way you get to see us, get to read us, get to listen to us, thanks so much from your friends at yourgamesource.com. This is Gerald, better known as Yes Elvis Lives, and it's been another beautiful day in paradise.